The sun rose gently over the peaceful village of Umuoka, painting the sky with shades of orange and gold. Roosters crowed from different compounds, and the smell of wood smoke drifted through the cool morning air. Villagers were already beginning their daily activities. Women swept their compounds, children prepared for school, and farmers gathered their tools before heading to their fields. At the heart of the village stood the magnificent compound of Chief Okafor, the traditional ruler of Umuoka. His large house, built with modern materials yet decorated with traditional symbols, was a symbol of wealth and authority. The villagers respected him deeply. Some even feared him. Chief Okafor had only one child, a beautiful daughter named Adis. Adis was known throughout Umuoka and neighboring villages for her beauty, intelligence, and kindness. Her skin glowed like polished bronze under the sun, and her smile could brighten even the darkest day. Many wealthy young men dreamed of marrying her, but Chief Okafor had very high standards. "My daughter will marry a man worthy of our family name," he often declared. Because of this, Adis lived a sheltered life. Her father ensured she lacked nothing. She attended the best schools in the nearby town and had servants to assist her whenever she visited home. Yet despite her privileged life, Adis often felt lonely. Many people treated her differently because she was the chief's daughter. Some were overly respectful. Others wanted favors from her family. Very few spoke to her honestly. She longed for genuine friendships. One Saturday morning, during her holiday break from university, Adis decided to visit her late mother's favorite farmland on the outskirts of the village. Her mother had passed away when she was only 10 years old, but Adis still remembered the stories she told about farming, hard work, and humility. Ignoring the concerns of the household servants, she left the compound wearing a simple dress and headed toward the farmlands. The path was peaceful. Birds sang from the trees, and butterflies danced among colorful flowers. Adis enjoyed the freedom of walking alone without bodyguards or attendants following behind her. After nearly 30 minutes, she reached a narrow footpath leading toward a stream. As she walked carefully, she suddenly heard voices. A group of young boys stood near a mango tree laughing loudly. "What happened?" one asked. The others pointed toward the stream. Curious, Adis moved closer. A young man stood knee-deep in muddy water, struggling to free a trapped goat that had become entangled among thick reeds. The boys were laughing instead of helping. "Leave it," one shouted. "You'll fall into the water." But the young man ignored them. With determination, he carefully untangled the frightened animal and lifted it onto dry land. The goat immediately ran away. The boys burst into applause. "Chinedu, you're stubborn," one laughed. The young man smiled. "If your family's goat was trapped, would you leave it there?" The boys fell silent. Adis watched from a distance. There was something different about him. His clothes were simple and worn from farm work. Sweat covered his forehead. Yet there was confidence in the way he carried himself. More importantly, he seemed genuinely kind. As the boys dispersed, Chinedu picked up a basket of harvested vegetables and began walking away. At that exact moment, Adis stepped onto a loose stone. The stone shifted. She lost her balance. Oh! Before she could fall completely, a strong hand grabbed her arm. For a brief moment, their eyes met. Adis' heart skipped. Chinedu quickly steadied her. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, thank you." Only then did Chinedu recognize her. His eyes widened. "You're Adis, Chief Okafor's daughter." She smiled politely. "And you're Chinedu?" He looked surprised. "You know my name? I heard your friends calling you." For a moment, neither spoke. The village's social rules were clear. People from influential families rarely interacted closely with poor farmers. But Adis noticed something unusual. Unlike others, Chinedu wasn't acting nervous around her. Nor was he trying to impress her. He simply treated her like any other person. You rescued that goat, she said. He shrugged. It needed help. The simplicity of his answer made her smile. Most people would have used the opportunity to boast. Not Chinedu. They walked together toward the main path. Along the way, Addis learned that Chinedu lived with his widowed mother, Ngozi. His father had died several years earlier after a brief illness. Since then, Chinedu had worked tirelessly to support his family and maintain their small farm. It must be difficult, Addis said softly. He nodded. Sometimes. But I believe hard work changes things. Addis admired his optimism. Many young men in the village complained constantly about their circumstances. Chinedu spoke with determination instead. As they approached a crossroads, they stopped. My path is this way, Chinedu said. And mine is there. For a brief moment, neither seemed eager to leave. Finally, Addis smiled. It was nice meeting you. You too. Then they parted ways. Neither realized that this simple meeting would change their lives forever. That evening, Addis sat quietly on her balcony overlooking the village. The sun was setting. Her thoughts kept returning to Chinedu. She found herself smiling unexpectedly. There had been no grand gestures. No dramatic moment. Yet something about him felt genuine. Different. Meanwhile, across the village, Chinedu sat outside his small family home. His mother, Ngozi, prepared dinner over a charcoal stove. You seem distracted, she observed. Chinedu laughed. Do I? Ngozi smiled knowingly. Mothers notice everything. He hesitated before speaking. Today I met Chief Okafor's daughter. The wooden spoon froze in her hand. Addis. Yes. Ngozi immediately became serious. My son, be careful. I know. The chief values status. People like us and people like them live in different worlds. Chinedu nodded. He understood. Everyone in Umuoka knew it. Chief Okafor expected his daughter to marry someone wealthy and influential. Certainly not a struggling farmer. Still, Chinedu couldn't explain why meeting Addis felt important. As darkness settled over the village, both young people stared at the stars above. Neither could know that destiny had already begun weaving their paths together. Far away, Chief Okafor sat inside his grand sitting room discussing future marriage proposals with village elders. Several prominent families had already expressed interest in Addis. The chief listened proudly. My daughter deserves the very best, he declared. The elders nodded in agreement. None of them knew that at that very moment, Addis' thoughts were occupied not by wealthy suitors, but by a humble young farmer named Chinedu. And somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbled softly across the horizon. A storm was coming. Not the kind that brought rain. The kind that would shake traditions, challenge authority, and test the hearts of everyone in Umuoka. And it had all begun with a simple meeting beside a village stream. The morning after Addis met Chinedu dawned bright and beautiful over Umuoka village. The previous night's clouds had disappeared, leaving behind clear blue skies and a gentle breeze that danced through the palm trees. Villagers moved about their daily routines, unaware that two young hearts were already thinking about each other. Addis woke earlier than usual. As she sat by her bedroom window, she found herself replaying every moment of the previous day. The stream. The trapped goat. The way Chinedu had rushed to help without expecting praise. His calm confidence. His kindness. She smiled to herself. Then quickly shook her head. Why am I thinking so much about him, she whispered. But deep inside, she already knew the answer. For the first time in years, she had met someone who treated her like a normal person. Not as Chief Okafor's daughter. Not as a future bride from an influential family. Just Addis. That simple difference meant more to her than she wanted to admit. A knock interrupted her thoughts. "Come in," she said. Her maid, Ifeoma, entered carrying breakfast. "Good morning, Addis." "Good morning." Ifeoma placed the tray on the table. "Your father wants you to accompany him to the village square today." Addis looked surprised. "The village square?" "Yes. The chief is inspecting preparations for the New Yam Festival." The New Yam Festival was one of the most important celebrations in Umuaka. People from neighboring villages would attend. There would be music, dancing, wrestling competitions, and cultural displays. Chief Okafor personally supervised many of the preparations. Normally Addis had little interest in such inspections. But today something made her curious. Especially when she remembered that many farmers would be helping prepare the festival grounds. Perhaps. No. She quickly dismissed the thought. Surely she wasn't hoping to see Chinedu again. Or was she? A few hours later, Chief Okafor's convoy arrived at the village square. Villagers greeted him respectfully. "Good morning, Chief." "Welcome, Chief Okafor." The chief acknowledged them with dignified nods. Addis walked beside him. Almost immediately, her eyes began scanning the crowd. Without realizing it. Without intending to. At least that was what she told herself. Then suddenly she saw him. Chinedu. He stood near one side of the square helping several young men repair wooden benches for the festival. His sleeves were rolled up. Sweat glistened on his forehead. He was focused on his work. Addis felt her heartbeat quicken. At that exact moment, Chinedu looked up. Their eyes met. Just for a second. A small smile appeared on his face. Addis smiled back. It was brief. Almost invisible. Yet somehow it felt significant. Unfortunately, someone else noticed. A wealthy trader's son named Obina. Obina had admired Addis for years. In fact, his father hoped one day to arrange a marriage between them. As Obina watched Addis glance toward Chinedu, a jealous expression crossed his face. "What business does a farmer have looking at her?" he muttered. The inspection continued. Chief Okafor moved from one area to another, discussing festival arrangements with community leaders. Meanwhile, Addis drifted slightly behind. As fate would have it, she soon found herself near the section where Chinedu was walking. One of the wooden benches suddenly collapsed. The young men groaned. "We'll never finish before the festival." Chinedu examined the damage. "We can fix it." "How?" "The support beam needs replacing." Addis stepped closer. "Can I help?" The young men stared at her. A chief's daughter offering to help repair benches. It sounded impossible. Chinedu smiled. "You don't have to." "I know." She smiled back. "But I want to." The others exchanged confused looks. Eventually Chinedu handed her a small hammer. "Then hold this beam steady." For the next 30 minutes they worked together. Talking. Laughing. Sharing stories. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing romantic. Yet both felt unusually comfortable. More comfortable than either expected. For the first time in a long while, Addis felt completely relaxed. He wasn't pretending. She wasn't performing. She was simply enjoying someone's company. And Chinedu felt the same. As the afternoon sun grew hotter, they moved beneath a large mango tree. Nearby villagers came and went. Most paid little attention. But not everyone. Obine continued watching from a distance. The more he observed, the more irritated he became. Something was developing between them. He could feel it. And he didn't like it. Not one bit. Under the shade of the mango tree, Addis and Chinedu continued talking. "What was university like?" Chinedu asked. Addis smiled. "Busy. I've always wanted to continue my education. His voice carried a trace of disappointment. But after my father died, there wasn't enough money. Addis noticed the sadness behind his words. You still read? Whenever I can. What do you read? History. Agriculture. Business. She looked impressed. Business. Chinedu nodded. One day I want to expand our farm. How? His eyes lit up. Suddenly he became animated. Passionate. He spoke about modern farming methods. Better irrigation. New crops. Cooperative farming groups. Future opportunities. Addis listened carefully. The more he talked, the more impressed she became. Most people assumed poor farmers lacked ambition. Chinedu proved otherwise. He had dreams. Plans. Vision. At that moment Addis realized something important. The wealthiest person wasn't always the one with the most money. Sometimes it was the one with the biggest dreams. Hours passed quickly. Eventually Chief Okafor called for Addis. She reluctantly stood. I should go. Chinedu nodded. Your father is waiting. For a moment neither moved. Then Addis smiled. I enjoyed talking to you. So did I. She hesitated. Maybe we'll see each other again. I hope so. Their eyes met once more. Then she walked away. Neda noticed Obinna standing nearby. Listening. Watching. Planning. That evening, Obinna visited Chief Okafor's compound. The chief welcomed him politely. Obinna. Good evening, Chief. They sat together discussing festival matters. Eventually Obinna casually asked. I saw Addis helping at the square today. Chief Okafor smiled proudly. My daughter has a good heart. Indeed. Obinna paused. Then carefully continued. Though I found it unusual that she spent so much time with that farmer's son. Chief Okafor frowned. What farmer's son? Chinedu. The chief's expression hardened slightly. Why would she spend time with him? I'm sure it meant nothing. Obinna deliberately shrugged. They simply seemed comfortable together. A heavy silence followed. Chief Okafor said nothing. But a seed of concern had been planted. And Obinna knew it. Meanwhile, Addis sat on her balcony again. The stars glittered above Umuaka. She thought about Chinedu's dreams. His determination. His kindness. His humility. Something about him felt refreshing. Real. For the first time, she found herself genuinely looking forward to seeing someone again. Across the village, Chinedu sat outside his house. His mother noticed the smile on his face. You've been smiling all evening. He laughed. Have I? Yes. Ngozi studied him carefully. Then she sighed. My son. What? Be careful with your heart. His smile faded slightly. He knew exactly what she meant. The difference between their worlds was enormous. Addis was the chief's daughter. He was a struggling farmer. Their friendship alone would raise eyebrows. Anything more could create serious problems. Yet despite knowing this, he couldn't stop thinking about her. And deep inside, a feeling was beginning to grow. A feeling neither of them fully understood yet. But destiny understood. And destiny was already moving faster than either realized. Because somewhere in the shadows, Obinna was becoming jealous. Chief Okafor was beginning to ask questions. And the entire village was about to notice a friendship that neither Addis nor Chinedu had intended to start. The days leading up to the New Yam festival were the busiest days Umuaka had seen all year. From sunrise until late evening, the village buzzed with activity. Women prepared baskets of yams and vegetables for the celebration. Young men repaired roads and decorated the village square. Children ran excitedly through the streets, counting the days until the festivities would begin. But while the entire village focused on the festival, Addis found it increasingly difficult to focus on anything except Chinedu. Every morning she woke wondering if she would see him. Every evening she found herself replaying their conversations. His smile. His dreams. His determination. His kindness. The feelings growing inside her were unfamiliar. She had met many young men before. Wealthy businessmen. University graduates. Sons of chiefs and politicians. Yet none of them had ever occupied her thoughts the way Chinedu did. One afternoon, while sitting in her room, she opened a book and attempted to read. 5 minutes later, she realized she had not absorbed a single word. Her mind was elsewhere. Finally, she closed the book and sighed. This is becoming ridiculous. But even as she said the words, she smiled. Because deep down, she knew exactly why. At the same time, several kilometers away, Chinedu worked in his family's farmland. The rainy season had blessed the crops that year. Rows of maize stretched across the field. Cassava plants stood strong and healthy. The soil was rich and dark. Yet despite the promising harvest, Chinedu's thoughts kept drifting toward Addis. He tried to focus. He truly did. But every now and then he would remember something she had said. A joke. A smile. A question she had asked. And before he realized it, he would find himself smiling. His mother, Ngozi, noticed immediately. Mothers often notice things others miss. That evening, as they sat outside eating dinner, she studied him carefully. You're thinking about her again. Chinedu nearly dropped his spoon. Who? Ngozi laughed. Don't insult my intelligence. He looked away. His silence was answer enough. Ngozi's smile slowly faded. My son, I understand why you admire her. Chinedu remained quiet. Addis is kind. He nodded. She's intelligent. Another nod. And beautiful. A small smile appeared. But she is also Chief Okofor's daughter. The smile disappeared. The reality of their situation settled heavily between them. I know. No, Chinedu. You know it, but you don't fully understand it. She sighed. The chief has plans for her future. I know. He will not approve of a farmer. Chinedu stared into the darkness. His mother was right. Every word she spoke was true. Yet somehow, despite knowing all this, he couldn't stop caring. And that frightened him. 3 days later, fate intervened once again. Addis had spent the morning helping organize festival supplies. By noon she was exhausted. Needing fresh air, she quietly left the compound and headed toward the outskirts of the village. She told herself she simply wanted a walk. Nothing more. But deep down, she knew exactly where her feet were taking her. Toward the farmland. Toward Chinedu. The path wound through tall grass and clusters of palm trees. As she approached the fields, she spotted him immediately. He was walking alone. Using a hoe, he carefully cleared weeds from between rows of crops. Sweat glistened on his forehead beneath the afternoon sun. For several moments, Addis simply watched. There was something admirable about hard work. Something honest. Eventually Chinedu looked up. His eyes widened in surprise. Then he smiled. A genuine smile that instantly brightened his face. Addis. She laughed softly. Am I not allowed to visit? You are. He placed the hoe aside. I just wasn't expecting it. Neither admitted how happy they were to see each other. They didn't need to. It was obvious. For the next few hours, they walked through the farmland together. Chinedu showed her different crops. Explained planting techniques. Shared stories about growing up in the village. Addis listened with fascination. The more time she spent with him, the more she realized how little she truly understood about the lives of ordinary villagers. Her privileged upbringing had protected her from many realities. Chinedu opened her eyes. And she appreciated that. At one point they reached a large mango tree near the edge of the farmland. Its branches stretched wide, creating a pool of cool shade beneath the afternoon sun. "Let's rest," Chinedu suggested. They sat beneath the tree. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves above. For a while, neither spoke. The silence felt comfortable. Peaceful. Then Addis broke it. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "What do you really want from life?" The question surprised him. He thought for a moment. Then answered honestly. "I want my mother to stop worrying." Addis smiled. "That's your first goal?" "Yes." She laughed softly. "And after that?" "I want to build something." "What?" "A successful farm." His eyes brightened. "A business that creates jobs." He paused. "I want people to know that where you start doesn't determine where you finish." Addis felt something stir inside her. Most people talked about money, status, power. But Chinedu talked about purpose, responsibility, hope. And somehow, that made him even more attractive. Eventually Chinedu turned the question back on her. "What about you?" Addis looked toward the horizon. For several moments she remained silent. Then she spoke quietly. "I want freedom." The answer surprised him. "Freedom?" She nodded. "Everyone thinks my life is perfect." "It isn't." She smiled sadly. "I have everything." She paused. "Except the ability to make my own choices." Chinedu understood immediately. The expectations, the pressure, the responsibilities of being Chief Okafor's daughter. For the first time, he saw beyond her beauty and privilege. He saw loneliness. And his heart ached for her. "You deserve happiness too." Their eyes met. Neither looked away. For a brief moment, the world seemed to disappear. The village. The expectations. The differences between them. None of it mattered. Only this moment. Only each other. Then footsteps shattered the silence. A young villager named Emeka emerged from the path carrying firewood. The moment he saw Addis and Chinedu sitting together beneath the mango tree, his eyes widened. He quickly greeted them. "Good afternoon." "Good afternoon," they replied. But Emeka's curiosity was obvious. His gaze moved between them. Again and again. Then he hurried away. The moment he disappeared, Addis felt uneasy. "I don't think that looked good." Chinedu sighed. It probably didn't. Both knew how quickly gossip spread in Umuoka. A simple conversation could become a scandal before sunset. Still, neither wanted to leave. Not yet. Eventually the sun began sinking lower. Reluctantly, they stood. "I should go," Addis said. "So should I." For a moment they simply stood facing each other. Neither wanting the day to end. Then Addis smiled. "I'm glad I came." Chinedu smiled back. "So am I." As she walked away, he watched until she disappeared from sight. And for the first time, he admitted something to himself. He was falling in love. Unfortunately, elsewhere in the village, trouble was already brewing. Emeka had shared what he saw. First with a friend. Then that friend told another. And another. By evening, half the village was discussing the chief's daughter and the farmer. Most people didn't know the full truth. But that didn't stop them from speculating. Whispers spread rapidly. Questions followed. And eventually, those whispers reached someone dangerous. Obinna. The moment he heard the rumor, his jealousy exploded. Without wasting time, he headed straight toward Chief Okafor's compound. This time, he intended to do far more than plant suspicion. He intended to create a problem. A very big problem. Meanwhile, completely unaware of the storm approaching, Adi stood on her balcony looking at the stars. Across the village, Chinedu sat outside his house doing exactly the same. Both smiled as they remembered the afternoon beneath the mango tree. Neither knew that their secret friendship was no longer a secret. And neither knew that by sunrise, Chief Okafor would hear a rumor that would change everything. The night was unusually quiet in Umuoka. A full moon hung above the village, casting silver light across the rooftops and narrow footpaths. Most families had already retired indoors, but inside Chief Okafor's compound, sleep seemed far away. Chief Okafor sat alone on the veranda of his large house, slowly turning a glass of palm wine in his hand. His face was serious. His thoughts troubled. Only an hour earlier, Obina had visited him with disturbing news. According to rumors spreading through the village, Adis had been seen spending time with Chinedu. Not once. Not twice. Several times. At first, Chief Okafor dismissed the stories. His daughter was responsible. Intelligent. Well-raised. Surely she understood the expectations attached to her position. Yet as the evening progressed, the rumors kept returning. Different people. Different versions. The same names. Adis. Chinedu. Eventually, doubt began creeping into his mind. And Chief Okafor hated doubt. Inside her room, Adis was unaware of her father's growing concerns. She sat near the window, staring into the darkness beyond the compound walls. A gentle smile rested on her face. She was thinking about the afternoon beneath the mango tree. The conversation. The laughter. The comfort she felt whenever Chinedu was near. For the first time in years, she felt understood. Not admired. Not respected because of her family name. Understood. And that feeling was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. A knock suddenly interrupted her thoughts. Come in. The door opened. Chief Okafor entered. Immediately, Adis sensed something unusual. Her father's expression was unreadable. Good evening, father. Good evening. He sat opposite her. For several moments neither spoke. Then he asked quietly. How was your day? The question seemed innocent. Yet something about his tone made Adis cautious. It was fine. Where did you go? Her heartbeat quickened. She tried to remain calm. I visited the farmlands. I see. Another pause. Then came the question she had been fearing. Were you alone? Adis hesitated. Only briefly. But the hesitation was enough. Chief Okafor noticed immediately. No. His eyes narrowed slightly. Who were you with? She swallowed. Chinedu. The silence that followed felt endless. Chief Okafor slowly leaned back. His expression hardened. The farmer. Yes. Why? The question sounded simple. But Adis understood its true meaning. Why would the chief's daughter spend time with a poor farmer? Why would she seek his company? Why would she visit him? Carefully, she chose her words. We were talking. Talking. Yes. Chief Okafor stared at her. Then shook his head. My daughter. His voice remained calm. But beneath the calm, anger simmered. You must be careful. Adis felt her stomach tighten. Father. He raised a hand. I am not accusing you of anything. Yet. The unspoken word hung heavily in the air. But people are beginning to talk. Adis looked away. She had expected this. Eventually. Just not so soon. The following morning, the rumors grew even faster. By sunrise, conversations about Adis and Chinedu could be heard throughout Umuoka. At the market. At the stream. Near the village square. Everywhere. Some villagers simply found the story interesting. Others were shocked. A few secretly supported them. But almost everyone had an opinion. Chief Okafor will never allow it. They are from different worlds. Perhaps they're only friends. Friends. A chief's daughter and a farmer. The gossip spread like wildfire. And unfortunately, gossip has a way of reaching the wrong ears. That afternoon, Chinedu arrived at the marketplace to sell vegetables from his farm. Normally, market days were among his favorite days. Not today. Today he noticed something unusual. People kept staring. Whispering. Pointing. The moment he approached, conversation stopped. Then resumed after he walked away. At first, he tried to ignore it. But eventually his friend Emeka approached. Looking uncomfortable. Chinedu. What is it? Emeka hesitated. The village is talking. Chinedu sighed. I guessed as much. They say you've been spending time with Adis. Chinedu remained silent. Emeka looked around nervously. You need to be careful. I know. No. Emeka lowered his voice. You don't understand. He stepped closer. Chief Okafor is asking questions. That caught Chinedu's attention. Immediately. A knot formed in his stomach. Meanwhile, Adis faced a similar situation. Several women who normally greeted her warmly now exchanged curious looks whenever she passed. Others smiled knowingly. A few openly discussed the rumors. Within a single day, her private friendship with Chinedu had become public entertainment. And she hated it. People were no longer talking about who Chinedu truly was. His character. His dreams. His kindness. Instead, they focused on status. Titles. Wealth. Family background. Everything except what mattered. That evening, she found herself becoming increasingly frustrated. Why should friendship require permission? Why should social class determine who someone could speak to? The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. Across the village, another person was growing increasingly frustrated. Obinna. His original plan had been simple. Expose the friendship. Create tension. Push Adis away from Chinedu. Instead, the opposite seemed to be happening. Despite the rumors, Adis continued defending Chinedu. The situation was becoming dangerous. For him. Because the longer the friendship continued, the stronger it seemed to become. And Obinna could see it. Even from a distance. That realization filled him with jealousy. A dangerous kind of jealousy. Several days later, preparations for the New Yam festival reached their peak. The village square overflowed with activity. Musicians practiced traditional songs. Dancers rehearsed performances. Visitors from neighboring communities began arriving. The entire village buzzed with excitement. During the preparations, Adis and Chinedu tried to avoid attracting attention. But fate seemed determined to bring them together. Whenever they crossed paths, their eyes found each other. Whenever they spoke, conversation came naturally. Neither intended to create trouble. Yet trouble seemed determined to find them anyway. One afternoon, while helping organize festival decorations, Adis accidentally dropped a heavy basket. Before anyone else reacted, Chinedu rushed forward and caught it. Their hands touched briefly. A simple moment. Nothing more. Yet dozens of eyes witnessed it. The whispers began immediately. Again. And this time, they were louder than before. That evening, Chief Okafor received another report. This one came from one of his trusted elders. The elder spoke respectfully. Carefully. But the message remained clear. The village is talking. Chief Okafor's expression darkened. I know. They believe there may be feelings between them. The chief stood abruptly. No. The word echoed through the room. The elder lowered his gaze. Chief Okafor paced slowly. His pride. His reputation. His plans for Adi's future. Everything felt threatened. For years he had envisioned a powerful marriage alliance. A union that would strengthen their family's influence. Not this. Never this. A farmer. The thought alone offended him. Yet something else disturbed him even more. His daughter appeared genuinely happy. And that complicated everything. Late that night, Adi sat beneath the stars once again. The village seemed peaceful. But inside her heart, a battle raged. Part of her wanted to obey her father completely. She loved him. Respected him. He had sacrificed much for her. But another part of her refused to accept that someone's worth should be measured by wealth alone. Whenever she thought about Chinedu, she saw goodness. Integrity. Strength. Everything she admired. Could all of that truly matter less than money? Less than status? She didn't believe so. And for the first time in her life, she found herself questioning the rules she had always accepted. Across Umuoka, Chinedu sat outside his home. His mother joined him. Neither spoke for a while. Finally, Ngozi sighed. The rumors are everywhere now. I know. She looked at him carefully. Do you care about her? The question caught him off guard. For several moments he remained silent. Then he answered honestly. Yes. Ngozi closed her eyes briefly. She had feared this answer. Not because Chinedu was wrong. Not because Adiz was unworthy. But because she knew the pain that could follow. The road ahead would not be easy. Far from it. As midnight approached, two young people lay awake in different parts of the village. Thinking about each other. Wondering about the future. Unaware that a major confrontation was rapidly approaching. Because Chief Okafor had finally reached a decision. The next day, he would speak directly with Chinedu. And what he planned to say would leave the entire village stunned.